Well, I guess it's election season. You know how I can tell it's election season? It's not all the bumper stickers and all the yard signs and the TV commercials. You can't even log into something on your phone without getting bludgeoned by it. That's not how I can tell it's election season. I can tell it's election season because Russia's back in the news.
Russia remains a predominant foreign threat to our elections.
Russian attempts to interfere in our elections and influence our society.
The schemes I've just discussed make clear the ends to which the Russian government, including at its highest levels, is willing to go to undermine our democratic process.
Oh, my gosh. I guess it's election year because Democrats are once again talking about Russia. And so I thought it would be helpful as we open up the show to discuss why your liberal Aunt Peggy lives in a world of make-believe. We talk about that all the time, how the communists in your life, they believe things that simply are not true. They know things that are not true. But how does that happen? Well, the world of make-believe your liberal Aunt Peggy lives in was constructed for her. And you can go back, we have all the video, we have all the stories there to explain how and why they constructed that world. The whole Russia stuff, it goes really back to Hillary Clinton. Now, I need to pause for a moment and I need to explain something before I play this little clip of Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is not starting the Russian collusion op that so many liberals believe today. She's not starting that when you look at this video clip. What she's doing is she's putting a little bow on it. You see, before Hillary Clinton stood on the stage and accused Donald Trump of being a Russian agent, or however she puts it, Hillary Clinton had already begun working behind the scenes. She was the Democrat nominee. Donald Trump was the Republican nominee. Hillary Clinton, she hired a foreign intelligence agent. Christopher Steele was his name. She hired a known liar, Christopher Steele, and she had him put together a dossier that made Donald Trump look like he was compromised by the Russians, had done dirty things with the Russians. And we know now, keep in mind, we know that all this was false. Christopher Steele made this up. He had dirty sources. All this was false. But she had already worked behind the scenes to create this illusion, a dirt file, if you will, a false dirt file about Donald Trump. After she'd already worked to create that file, got that file in the hands of the FBI, then she stood on the stage and said this.
We have never in the history of our country been in a situation where an adversary, a foreign power, is working so hard to influence the outcome of the election. And believe me, they're not doing it to get me elected. They're doing it to try to influence the election for Donald Trump. Now, maybe because he has praised Putin, maybe because he says he agrees with a lot of what Putin wants to do, maybe because he wants to do business in Moscow. I don't know the reasons, but we deserve answers.
Ooh, we deserve answers. How compromised is this guy? This is from the lady who already had the Russian collusion hoax in the works. She went on television and tied a nice little bow on it and handed it to your liberal Aunt Peggy, who took that false story and began to run with it. And of course, after they began to run with it, after Hillary Clinton put the public bow on it and put that word out, after the hive mind decided that's how they wanted every Democrat drone in the country talking, well, the left-wing pundits, the left-wing politicians, they did as they always do. They got their programming update from the hive mind, and then they ran to social media, television, and everywhere else to disseminate the false information.
There is circumstantial evidence of collusion.
It's super obvious already. He is a Russian asset.
He is clearly a Russian asset.
The president is acting like he is the asset for Russia.
Back then, my biggest fear was we had elected an asset of the Russian government. who would sell out America at every opportunity just to save his own hide. My biggest fear now is that I was right.
Do you still believe the president could be a Russian asset?
I think it's possible.
It is a possibility, and I would add to that, caveat that, whether witting or unwitting. And that is a really painful thing to say.
Hurts me to say it, but probably a Russian asset. Again, all of this was created by Hillary Clinton's campaign, voiced by Hillary Clinton. Democrat politicians, pundits ran to the television, Russian asset, Russian asset, Russian asset. And this entire time, your liberal Aunt Peggy is having the world of make-believe constructed for her. Think of it like a construction project where they're building her false world slowly but surely. They're putting in the landscaping, the buildings, they have the foundation down. Russia, 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 programming her over and over and over again. And once they completed the Russian collusion fake world for her, then that world was made ready for her, ready for them to use against her whenever something came up. And now they can use it and do use it all the time. Remember Hunter Biden's laptop? The FBI gets possession, they get a laptop turned into them by a private citizen who says, hey, this laptop is now mine. There are dirty felonies on here, courtesy of Hunter Biden. The Federal Bureau of Investigation takes the laptop and hid it. They didn't dig into it. They didn't try to expose it. And then they illegally used a wiretap on Rudy Giuliani to find out that the media, the New York Post, was getting ready to publicize a story about the Russian laptop, about the Hunter Biden laptop, the Hunter Biden laptop. And so what do? What can you possibly use? How do you shoot down this very damaging story to Joe Biden? Well, Mark Zuckerberg said it pretty clearly. What did the FBI say to him when they knocked on the door of Facebook?
The FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. There was we thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant.
You see how Zuckerberg and all the other commie drones at Facebook had been programmed with the world of make-believe, and so it was easy for them to buy into the FBI lie that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian collusion. FBI knocked on the door, said it's Russian collusion. These drones had been programmed in the world of make-believe to see Russians under the bed everywhere. They naturally believed it right away and promptly censored the story. Twitter censored the New York Post Twitter account for posting an accurate story because it had to be the Russians, right? This is how they operate. And the media, of course, knowing that liberal Aunt Peggy had the world of make-believe, the Russian world of make-believe created for her, they know she had already been programmed, she had already been conditioned to believe everything was Russian, and so they ran to the media, or they ran to their microphones, and they told your liberal Aunt Peggy this.
Biden's secret emails.
A really fishy story.
The Post claimed that the emails were found on a laptop computer that was brought to a repair shop in Delaware in the spring of 2019.
The FBI is now investigating whether those alleged Hunter Biden emails are actually connected to a larger foreign intelligence operation.
They may be related to a foreign intelligence operation.
Foreign intelligence operation.
Foreign intelligence.
Foreign intelligence.
Foreign intelligence operation.
For all we know, these emails are made up.
The information found on the laptop may be part of a Russian disinformation campaign.
Part of a Russian disinformation effort.
Described by many intelligence experts as having hallmarks.
All the hallmarks
of a Russian
disinformation.
Russian disinformation.
Disinformation campaign.
This is a classic example of the right-wing media machine.
You see, as liberal Aunt Peggy sat and watched that, what you saw was lies. What she saw was simply affirmation of what she already knew about her world, the world that had been constructed for her, a world where the right-wingers, the Republicans, Donald Trump in particular, had partnered with Vladimir Putin and the evil Russian government to try to adjust, alter, cheat in American elections. And as soon as the media, FBI told her that it was the Russians doing it, she had been so programmed by the hive mind that she just simply naturally believed it. And now we have a population, I don't know the percentages, I guess we'll find out in November. We have a population of voters on the left who have been programmed that way now. And Democrats, communists, are smart enough to use that program. They know their base believes in this Russian collusion narrative. They've been programmed for years for it. And so, shoot, right away, Democrats in this election began planting those seeds.
What does he have on Donald Trump that he have to constantly be catering to Putin, telling Putin, go into these countries?
And why is Donald Trump so enamored of Putin? Well, part of it is he's a wannabe dictator.
Not only is there no evidence of any wrongdoing by President Biden, but it now appears as if the House Republican majority is being used by Russia to interfere in the 2024 election on behalf of Donald Trump. If they continue with this investigation, they are simply doing the work of Vladimir Putin to help Donald Trump win an election in November. That's where we are.
Your liberal Aunt Peggy sees that. It's, again, affirmation of what she already knows. The world of make-believe, the world of lies she's been programmed with. She sees things like that and she gets herself ready for more of it. And then, out of the blue, just happened recently, the DOJ, in conjunction with the FBI, had a press conference announcing that they'd uncovered some dastardly Russian involvement in the election, millions of dollars, right-wingers. The media grabbed it and ran with it. And I'll give you this little tidbit here. I have sources myself. It's weird to say, but I have sources myself. Sources inside the belly of the beast. The DOJ/FBI rolled out the latest Russian indictments for early voting. It's an op. It's not designed to help the election. And here's one for you. Did you know there are more coming? They didn't want to do them all at once. So there will be more indictments coming for right-wingers for taking Russian money. Let's see how many on our side are dumb enough to fall for it. I know for a fact liberal Aunt Peggy will fall for it. All that may have made you uncomfortable, but I am right. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.